Hi, my name is Aaliyah Moyer. I'm from Washington, Pennsylvania, and I'm 23 years old in grad school, getting my master's in sociology.
Hi, I'm Bobby Broom. I'm 22.
My name is Tanisha Thomas. I'm 23. I'm from Columbus, Ohio, and I am a creator.
It's Brianna Lexi. I'm 23 and I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
Growing up in Washington, it's like a small town, but the county is huge, and it's kind of like very like country. I was raised in a predominantly white area in space, so I think that, I always knew that I was Black, but I don't feel like that was really reinforced in my curriculum or so much so at home.
I was born in Arizona, and then I lived in Southern California. I lived in Santa Clarita and North Hollywood until I was 9. And Santa Clarita is a suburban area. It's like 45 minutes outside of LA, so it's pretty white, and that's where I lived with my grandma. That's where I went to school. Living with her, it taught me high morals. She instilled values in me. I still live with her today, so obviously I came back.
For my upbringing, I grew up in a 2-parent household. My dad was a Chicago firefighter, and my mom worked corporate downtown in corporate America. I was the only child, so I got a lot of attention. Couldn't get away with nothing.
I was raised by a single mom, and she's a union factory worker. So she raised me and my 2 older brothers by herself.
Yeah, I grew up in a pretty healthy household and just learned to be open-minded and accept people for who they are, even if that wasn't the case for me most of the time. Like Groveport was probably like a good mix of people. So I was exposed to a lot of cultures and people and just different perspectives. So I think that's why I grew up so open-minded, because I just met like a diverse amount of people. So I was able to accept people faster.
I went to predominantly Black elementary school on the South Side, and we didn't even say the national anthem or sing the national anthem. We had our own anthem that was read every day. So I feel like when it comes to Black culture, I was surrounded by it.
I think that the times where I kind of like knew what it felt like for me was a lot of the guys around here, they like to like mixed girls, they like white girls, stuff like that. I was like darker skin, and although that is more so in trend, now, but like back then, like they were only trying to like date like girls that were like mixed, like fair skin, kind of like white. So I feel like those were things that were kind of like reoccurring and constantly like reminding me that like, oh, not only like am I Black and is Black kind of like an issue, but like my shade of Black is also kind of like an issue.
A lot of the girls in my school were my skin color or darker. There was a obvious difference on how at least the boys treated the lighter skinned girls in my school. I feel like they were a lot more desirable than us. They were more like the trophies, where the guys just wanted to see what they could do with us and how far we would let them go.
I went to a white middle school, and same thing. Everybody was dating. Nobody wanted to date the Black girl, the weird, awkward Black girl at that. Okay,
kind of been in like a little like secret relationships because like their family was racist, or like they were like, oh well, I can't really like date you because like my family doesn't like Black people, like that kind of stuff.
In the summertime, I used to help my dad teach swim lessons, so I would get very tan, and I would go from brown skin to dark skin in like 3 days max. So I didn't feel as confident when my skin was darker, especially when I went to visit my family in Arizona. Everybody would comment on my skin like, Bobby, you're so tan. Why are you so dark? Like, you should lighten yourself up a little bit. Like, you gotta stay out of the sun. You know, once the winter rolled around, I would become a little bit more comfortable with myself because my skin would lighten up a little bit, which is problematic.
We were outside a lot more. We were outside a whole lot more. And we was tanned a whole lot more. we was different shades, you know? The summertime was, Brianna was about 3 shades darker, but all of the kids were 3 shades darker because we were all outside. So it was never like a specific, oh, you look dark, or we was all looking the same way.
I don't know what grade I was in. I know I was in elementary school, but one time I was in bed crying, and I literally was like asking God why he didn't make me blonde and white with blue eyes. And I just think back to that time all the time and think, you know, if I could, I would tell my younger self, just love the skin you're in. It's beautiful. You're beautiful. Like, don't listen to nobody. Just keep it moving.
My mom was kind of very like, you know, if you think you're beautiful, you know, then you are, you know, that's really all that matters.
I remember my dad, he was the one that taught me like how to deal with the police when I was younger. He taught me that like no matter what my skin color is, I should love it, and you know, your skin is going to be beautiful no matter what.
I never had an issue or saw an issue with my skin tone or felt like I was ugly because I was Black.
I think that those were kind of like the different times where I was like, oh, okay, you know, this is just what it is. And then, you know, you always have like those moments in like history class where it's like briefly talked about, you know, your kind of like slavery and like all like the microaggressions and stuff that I feel like I kind of faced but couldn't like put a name on it.
I remember the first day that we learned about slavery, I remember I walked out of the classroom and I started crying, and I told my friend I never want to hear the word Black ever again, because it had struck me deep down, and it was just extremely uncomfortable because everybody was just looking at me like, oh, so this is you, this happened to you, right? We were all like 6 and 7, so like we're having a hard time comprehending any of this. I remember that was in elementary school. And then after that, this redhead girl named Savannah, she came up to me and she said, you know, Bobby, if this was 100 years ago, I would own you right now and you would have to do everything I tell you.
My mom would tell me stories about when she was on the track team and they would call them the N-words and be like, run, N-word, run. That's how I learned very quickly, like, oh, because I'm Black, like, I'm going to get treated differently.
Okay, so my high school had 32 Black kids out of 900, and out of those 900, 92% of them are white. So, yeah, so the other Black kids that all hung out together, I didn't fit in with them because like I wasn't Black enough for them. And so that was really hard. I was like, shoot, I mean, if I'm not accepted with these Black kids, where am I accepted?
I will say that when students were bullied, if you were brown or darker skin, that was like brought up.
Someone called me like the hard R N-word when I was on vacation somewhere. And that's when I really realized, okay, yeah, like things still haven't changed. And I think it's just surreal for me because I always heard that word being said to other people. But when you hear it like said to you, it just is different.
The words of Malcolm X are very true. We're the most, you know, unprotected, disrespected in America. And it just is what it is.
I had brats, so we love brats. I had brats, but I had a lot of Barbies too. And I remember I had the one Black Barbie. I loved her so much. She was my girl. Okay, I had a whole tub full of Barbies.
I play with brats. You know, brats look like me. Sasha, Team Sasha over here. I had a Raven doll. I very rarely had Barbie dolls. My baby dolls are Black.
I liked brats more than Barbies. Because that Barbie was like, yeah, you had her, and they tried to do it with the My Scene dolls, but I still was like, I'm not seeing myself. So when I saw the brats, I was like, oh, period. And just like, even with their lips, I was like, okay, this looks like mine.
Growing up, Black toys, like I had brats, So like my Bratz dolls were always like very popping for me, and I really wasn't a real like dolls type of girl, to be honest, because I was always in sports and stuff growing up, so I really don't feel like I had any time. But child, my cousin, she had like a whole Bratz collection, and we would really get down. And I had some. My mom would buy me some, and I just love those compared to everything else. And like on TV, I feel like the only thing that jumps out of me from when I was younger was Out of the Box. I used to love that show, and like the guy was like whack with his like locks on his little drum, and so you know, like things like that do stick out to you because you're just like, wow, you know, we're on TV, you know, we're doing like these different things, and it's not just like how everybody always wants to portray our history starting from slavery, and like, you know, then where it's like always like this like sad old tale of like all of these like injustices and oppressions, and not so much about like the Black excellence and stuff.
As far as seeing myself in the media, no, didn't see that at all. What I saw were a lot of people who were either lighter skinned than me, or they were mixed with different races, and those were the ones that were, you know, pulled and brought up. Or if they didn't have my skin tone, they didn't have my hair type. We had some, I think I might have grown up in the age where they started to like deliberately add Black characters and Black storylines, but no, it wasn't until I really got to college that we started to see this outburst of Black creativity and Black leads who don't have anything to do with slavery and stuff like that.
The more I saw like different media, I saw like, oh, I don't see myself that much, especially in cartoons. So looking back, I realized I clinged a lot to any like Black girl that was in a show that I liked, especially like Codename Kids Next Door, Number 5, Static Shock. You know, I liked that show and him because I was like, okay, Black dude, like this is cool.
Proud Family, I loved that show too. And the thing is like, I didn't know at the time why I liked these shows so much, but looking back, I'm like, oh, it's because they were Black. You know, like that's the only thing I could relate to. I only had the Proud Family and That's So Raven. Like that was pretty much it. And then I remember when Shake It Up came out with Zendaya, I was even happier. I was like, oh my gosh, this girl is beautiful. I love her. And on top of that, like we had the same body type, and I was always really insecure about how my body looked. I had a teacher ask me in the middle of class if I was anorexic. Okay, like that is not okay. So then when Zendaya came out on TV, she was tall, she was thin just like me, and she was Black. I was like, I love her.
A lot of the times when I did see girls that looked like me, they were the butt of the joke. They were not taken seriously. They were not the main characters.
They would have like some like mixed girls, you know, but they're always like a supporting character in some of these even movies, like because I was like thinking like Xenon, like Her Friend and stuff like that, where, you know, even though like to me it was a lot for them to just still be there.
When you feel something, say something. I will say that because growing up I never told people how they made me feel, ever. Still have a problem with that, but I would, if anything, I would start doing it sooner. You know, if somebody hurts my feelings, tell them as soon as it happens, so that way I don't end up living with guilt, shame, sadness, and like bitterness towards that person, you know, because that stuff adds up and it gets really uncomfortable after a while.
Don't change yourself for guys. Things that would be considered sexual assault, like a guy walking by, touching your butt, touching your boob, that was not really something that was known. We knew it was wrong, but it was not something that registered as wrong from men. So I guess in that way you could say we were taught from a very young age that it's okay to let stuff like that happen to you. And I would tell my younger self it's not. And to not try to change yourself for the attention of these little boys.
If I could just been like, you know, like your friends are about to be popping, girl, your career, like school's about to be popping, like it's fine, like, and it's good, and you are. I think that is like one of the things I probably also struggled with when I was younger, because I guess I still kind of, it like looks different now, but just like I have a little bit of like imposter syndrome. Like I don't really be feeling like I should be filling up like these spaces and places, but I am great. And so when I was younger, I felt like the same way, like you're doing great, but I was like insecure, like just like all over. Like I felt like I was. And so sometimes I guess within my imposter syndrome, it feels the same way. Like I'm insecure about like these spaces and these things that I'm doing. And I guess like even probably like just like my overall. And so if I could just like really be like, you know, stop all that, you know, stop that, nip that in the butt now, you know, because you really have like a lot of things to do. You have a lot of things to do, and you're really just going to be out here being great and doing the things that you want to, and you're going to be pivotal in other people's lives, you know, as well as your own. Like you should be proud of yourself, and other people are proud of you, and you're doing great.
Definitely told her that you are beautiful and you are worthy, and you should love your skin. I think that was the biggest thing.
It gets better. Elementary school is not the last thing that you'll ever experience in life. High school is not the last thing. College is not the last thing. Things will get better. Grow at your own pace. Don't compare yourself to what your friends are doing, especially if it's stuff that is not comfortable for you to do.
I want us to enter into these white dominated fields. Okay, I'm talking about the film industry right now, and take over.
I hope that we can like take up more space as Black women in all of these different places where you normally don't see them, you know, and kind of like just like do things for change, because I research kind of specifically Black infant mortality, and we like talk about like, you know, like the healthcare discrimination and the rates that maternal mortality and Black infant mortality are going for like Black women. And to me, like stuff like that really matters, because like you're actually seeing kind of like racism being a national health emergency, and so it matters. And I would love to see there be kind of like a change, like from the ground up, like kind of like and then build back. So yeah,
I want for us to be able to speak and for people to actually take us seriously. Like that's number one. Okay, and I'm talking about in the medical field. I'm talking about, you know, in everything, pretty much with everything, but mainly medical field, because, you know, I've seen a lot of really disappointing situations happen on social media. I've heard firsthand accounts from women that I've met before. Even my grandma, like healthcare workers do not listen to us because they expect us to be strong all the time, but that is not 100% the case. And because, you know, we're still people too that have feelings.
I hope the Black women get everything we deserve, but I also hope Black women take back time for themselves. It really hurts to see Black women go and fight for everyone, but when we fight for ourselves, we're being selfish, we're being colorist, we're being divisive, especially when it comes to Black men. I hope that while we get everything we deserve, we get the positions that we deserve, I hope that we also realize we don't have to save everybody. A lot of the times, and I'm sure a lot of Black women can agree, it's the same Black men who have Black mamas that look like us, but we are dirty to them, we are ratchet, things they would never say to their mom. It's like, okay, cool, but don't get mad at us when we want to fight for ourselves. You can't get mad at someone who doesn't want to fight for you anymore, because every time we do, it's like, oh, thanks for fighting for us. Okay, what about like the sexual assault of like Black women in the Black community? That's not an issue. Like it can't be a tit for tat thing like that. I feel like Black women don't get that. We don't get that opportunity to be tit for tat. We don't get that opportunity to say what we want to fight for. We're told what we should fight for and what's appropriate to fight for us.
I definitely see us getting more respect and getting more value in the work we do. So I feel like even now it's still underappreciated and our voice isn't being utilized to its full potential. So I kind of see us getting to where we've been wanting to be for years and creating art that was meant to be given to us way before, and telling stories that now need to be like told that weren't told before, especially for like the younger kids and our history books and stuff being changed. Create an impact and inspire those young Black girls that I once was.
In the future, I see myself creating a successful Netflix TV show, okay, because I already have an idea in mind. So I'm gonna put that out there into the universe, okay? Like I have some ideas written down. I started on those character essays, but yeah. So that's number one. Number two, I want to set up a community center for the arts and for Black women. I want them to be able to go there like as an after-school program and enrich themselves.
I will provide opportunities for Black kids that no one else will give them. In my future, I will give Black kids specifically the opportunity to be at the same level as white kids when they want to get in their job field, specifically film.
I will take up all the space that I have to. Yep. I will do all that I want to do without sidestepping and second guessing myself. I will claim my happiness, my future. I'm claiming it in Jesus' name. It's really going to be all the things that I need it to be, because I really have been doing what I had to do.